Yeah, you know what it is. Illinois, what up? Song title down. Let's get into it. You already know. Ron G.
My brother, they shot him. Wish I was beside him. He would have been here or I would have been with him. Cause I'm a rider, I wish God could send him back. The reason why now I don't get attached. The love that I give, I don't get it back. But that right there only lit a match. I love it cause that just exposes the real from the fake. Somehow it's always like giving they take. Same ones that just sit back and watch me starve on the same ones that I put a meal on they plate.
So no one's asked you yet to do a podcast?
Nah, not really.
No one's asked you. That's crazy.
You mean far as like to be on it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I get those all the time. Yeah, but I don't really do them because it's, like I said.
So we get the privilege.
Yeah, but I know you for a long time, so.
I appreciate you, man. Yeah, I feel special.
We got a history.
We do have history, man. Definitely, you drove like from 3-4 hours.
Yeah, it was like 4 hours because I'm in Boston out there.
To come on to the Brooklyn Basement Podcast. That's awesome.
And I'm from Harlem, so Harlem going to Brooklyn. We like, I have to make that phone call. Yo, I'm in the BK. Anything go down, man.
It's a nice part of BK. It's a nice part.
Yeah, I noticed that. I'm like, hey, the house is kind of big over there.
Yeah, they got houses on this side. Brooklyn Basement Podcast. We back once again.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
My man Willie Sweets is in the building.
Sweet, what up?
You know what I mean? Today we got a special. Well, so far this year, we've been having some special guests, and I keep saying we got a special, but we really have a special
guest. We on fire right now.
We on fire.
We on fire.
We bring in today we have a legendary person in the building.
I mean, I grew up with his tapes. I'm not going to lie. I can't wait for him to get here today. I grew up with his tapes. He has to do the drop for me.
Yeah.
So the kids understand.
At some point, we're going to get it.
Yeah, already know. It's the Mix King, Ron G.
Yeah. See that? How you been?
I'm doing pretty good, man, Drinking a lot of water, eating a lot of fruits every other day, Trying to keep the, the age under control.
Yeah.
So far, so good. Can't complain yet.
So you mentioned before, you from Harlem, right?
Yeah, I'm from Harlem. I'm 55th Street, Polo Grounds.
Hip-hop turning 50 now, man. How's that feeling for you? Someone that contributed.
I just turned 52, so that's
so you're celebrating your birthday
thing,
with
celebrating my birthday. The 50th birthday with the 50th anniversary of hip-hop. So.
And that's a blessing, man. God bless.
Yeah, I look in the mirror, like I was saying when I came in, I'm like, man, starting to see a little too much gray in here.
But you still got the hairline, bro. That's what's up.
Yeah, it's a blessing. Time to time, I'll be looking at it like, please stay together. No, please.
Listen, at this point, you wrote it out long enough, so it's like,
Listen, me and A wear hats for a reason.
Yeah, my hat's here for a reason. It ain't coming.
We ain't even playing.
I was just talking to my people about taking that turkey trip where everybody going now get them, them hairlines put in. Because the girls could get the BBLs. Dudes got to,
it's been another world with all of that. It's so amazing that we can do that. You remember like 20 years ago when they first started doing that, and it was like, he's also a client. Remember? Now it's some digital drop shit.
Yeah, now they transferring hair from like your toes all the way. I don't know where they get it from.
That's some crazy shit.
They athlete's foot on your hairline. You know what I mean? That ain't cool, man.
That's funny as hell.
But bring us to the beginning, like.
How'd you get started in the mixtape game? That's what his one.
Well, I think when I first started doing my mixtapes, I used to listen to from being across the street from Rucker Park, they will always have block parties and jams in Rucker, and I used to listen to the DJs out there, like my man Smalls. I forgot what the DJ name was back then. But him and my man Wiz Rob used to be going back and forth, and then when Fridays come. Rooftop was open, all those cars flying in. And then, so they also have Rucker Park Tournament, which is the basketball. So when I used to see all the people out there partying, all the trucks, I was like, wow. Then I would hear Brucey B mixtapes. I would hear Kid Capri mixtape and Star Child and Love Bug Starsky. So I was like, I want to be a part of that, man. I want how these guys get their music inside these cars,
Right.
That was one of my goals and dreams. So I said,
how did they get turntables at that time?
Well, at that time, turntables were very expensive. Even though they're still expensive, it was like you really had to make the money or had to have the money to get the turntables. But my step pops brought me the turntables, and I went out and brought the mixer, and I just started making mixtapes. And then nobody would, I wasn't trying to sell them or anything. I was just letting my friends hear them. Right. And then one day, my mother knocked on my door. And she was like, turn that hip-hop, skip-hop, Scooby-Doo down in my house. And I never forget that. And I was like, come on, Ma, this is rap music. And she was like, I don't care. So, and I would, walk by her door and she'd be playing like Lou Rawls, Diana Ross, Michael Jackson, Stephanie Mills. And I'm like, what can I do to make my moms happy?
Dope.
And me be able to play my music at the same time. So what I would do is when she would go to the store, go to her friend's house, I would go in her room and take her records or her 45s or her cassettes. And one by one, I was taking them and putting them in my room. And then when I go to the store and get a Grandmaster Flash record, or I would say somebody like Sparky D, remember Sparky D, or before the Bismarck and all of them was really popular. And I would just take the records and try to play it behind the Lou Rawls and say and see how the beat would sound behind it. And I was like, oh, that sound dope. But what if it was no vocals in the instrumental beat that I'm using?
Right.
So what I did was I started taking the cassettes. I went and brought another cassette player, hooked it up to my mixer. So I would take the cassette player that my mother would, like her cassettes were like Lou Rawls, and I would just play it, and then I would scratch in the instrumental beat behind it, and then I would take it to my friend's house, and he'd be like, "Oh, that's kind of crazy. It sound all right." We heard one or two people doing it before, but this was a whole new vibe. It was a real classic feel to it. So my mom's she wasn't saying nothing because she was like, "Oh, I hear my music. Oh, you about time you waking up, young man."
Wow.
So, and after that, I just said, you know what? I started going to the mixtape stores and I started seeing a couple of DJs that were making mixtapes. So I would speak to my man Murph and BJ at J&J Variety, and he would say, "Man, listen, if you're gonna make mixtapes, you better have a badass intro." Because I'm going to tell you right now, it's some badass DJs out here. So I was like, okay, all right. So I started listening. I said, okay. And I started making whole mixtapes. I made Mixers 1, I think it was 1989. All blends on the whole mixtape. And after that, everybody was like, oh, yo, who this young kid? This young kid from uptown. And after that, that's how it all started, from doing that one mixtape that everybody started loving.
Wow.
And I would go to all the hustlers that was at Rucker Park, because that's all I saw.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, yo, I got a mixtape right here. And he'd be like, yo. And I remember my man Murphy would always tell me, he said, man, when you go to these cars with your mixtape, they got about 30 seconds before they pull off. And if you don't get their attention in 30 seconds with that intro, they ain't going to care about your mixtape. So soon they popping in, oh man, it's going down. That was it.
You get them hyped from the
right from the door, and that's how I created my name, and it been on ever since.
Dope.
Yeah, that's dope, man.
So what would you remember your first mix?
Your
first actually. Oh, the one that surprised you.
I always tried Michael Jackson first.
Okay.
And I would say one of my first mixes that I really practiced was Human Nature and Making Music with Your Mouth Biz.
Okay, I remember that one.
Yeah, so after I heard that, and I was like, oh, this is dope. Then I said, I got something here. And I just kept doing it. I just kept taking, and then after a while, I brought a sampler, and I would just sample little parts of beats. And then next I had a whole studio set up. And
that's how you got into production and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I had the HR-16 drum machine. I learned a lot from Steve Kitt. Steve Kitt was, him and Steve Stout were partners like early 90s. And they used to do stuff with Herbie Lovebug and the one who used to produce Salt and Pepper. So I had a history. And Chill Will from the Get Fresh crew, he taught me also how to, I used to go just to his house and watch him make beats for Doug Fresh. And
now that Chill Will ain't the same Chill Will that used to be in Harlem, the mixtape. That's not the same one, right?
This Chill Will, I'm talking about, is the original Barry B and Dougie Fresh Chill Will.
Right.
The other Chill Will was from the East Side. He was Chill Will from the East Side,
right?
Because I think his name was Will, and that was just how he,
that was the one I used to. Your tape, of course, first, and then him.
Yeah,
the Fruity. I want to hear Chill Will get fruity.
Me and Will go back too, man. Go back. So he's always
I used to listen to those two. I had all his tapes. I used to have to go to the what I think was called the Harlem Hut, where they show the Olaf.
Harlem Music Hut.
Yeah, they show the Olaf shorts. So they used to sell those to buy your tape. I used to have to go from Brooklyn ride the train into Harlem to get his tapes. Because then I started Flux. Then, of course, my bad, we had to start dubbing it in Brooklyn so everybody can hear it. You know
I understand.
Because in Brooklyn, they wasn't hearing Ron G.
Yeah,
they wasn't hearing Ron.
What was the original bootleg?
Yeah, it was the original bootleg. Well, you got to hear Ron G. They used to play it in Sunset Park.
But, a lot of that helped me in the longer run because a lot of people, sometimes I would go places and they'd be like, man, I'm trying to put you on to these boys out here, man. And I'm like, and then I started naming my mixtapes like Beat Jeeps or Jeep Beats and stuff like that. So the dudes that had Jeeps would be like, let me try this in my Jeep. And when they hear that bass, they like, oh, this is hot. Let me get another one of them Ron G. So that's kind of like, if it wasn't for brothers like you who did have to foresee what I was trying to do and present it to people, then maybe I wouldn't have been here because it was a challenge even then. So
when you got into production, do you remember who was the first big name artist?
Well, I think it started from Miss Jones. When I first was working with Miss Jones, I had a vision for because I was already a hip hop and R&B DJ, and she was singing on my mixtapes, and people were like, she was like going platinum in the street. Like everybody was like, "Yo, who is Miss Jones?" And it was amazing. It was like a record. We had our own record label through mixtapes. Even though we wasn't benefiting like that, we got shows, recognition, other different little deals. And then when I was able to get her a deal with Stepson Entertainment with Bill Stephanie for our first single, Where I Want to Be Boy and Don't Front, that showed me that the mixtapes were powerful at the time.
Could you imagine with what you was doing back then and how social media is working out for a lot of younger kids, artists, and how they're able to just instantly put music out on themselves? What you would have been able to do back then with a Miss Jones or whatever, you would have really been able to start your own label.
Yeah, I mean, I probably should have done that already, but the reason why I didn't do it is because hip hop is always growing. And I just didn't want, because I grew up doing hip hop and R&B, I always figured I want to combine both, even in a record label. If I create a record label, I want hip hop artists and I want R&B artists. So I never got comfortable in that lane yet. I always wanted to stay comfortable in producing until I get to that, I would say that level where I feel, all right, now I want to do a record label. But to be honest with you, I think now I'm feeling like I want to do a record label.
Really? Yeah. That'd be dope.
Because hip hop need it. Before when you running in the streets and you seeing everybody, all your friends and your rappers that you help get there, and everybody's just feeling good and happy. But now New York, to me, we need that. We need that different variety of hip hop music. To me, I feel like New York hip hop is suffering. You know what I mean? Because you do got the trap, you do got the drill, but we still need that party vibe hip hop. We still need that, and because there's still a lot of us who like to have fun and party and feel good with our friends. You know what I mean? And sometimes when you're listening to hip hop now, you don't know what direction to go in.
The crazy part, being at our age, because he said our age out loud. Being at our age, I'm like, please come back, Ron. Ron, please come back and play the music you used to play back in the days. That it was, because it's timeless. Yeah. The music that you mixed together was a timeless time. You could put it on now, you still jam to that. And even the younger kids, they'll hear the Michael Jackson and hear the mix. Be like, no, that's hot. Still, because it's timeless stuff. And like you said, we are suffering out here, man. We suffering from something bad. The music is suffering. Not only the artist, the music is as well.
And artists now too, like some of the young artists that I've been noticing, is starting to sample music from the 90s again. They just flip it in different ways, So that's why, I really like R&B, or now I would say trap R&B, because now they're taking the trap drums, but they're sampling it like an R&B song. So to me, it's like, dope. This is hot. So I get drawn into the R&B more than anything, the R&B trap kind of vibe.
So you enjoy the R&B more. So that if you was to start a label, that's what you were looking for?
I think R&B is more safer, because with hip hop, you got to bail artists out of jail. you got to have a special crew for it.
It's
just,
a lawyer and retainer.
You got to pay for them to get
out. And longevity musically, R&B seems to last longer.
Yeah, I mean, especially if the artists write and produce their music or all co-produce their own stuff. And I would say that's a jewel, because they can foresee their career. Most artists, when they write their own songs, they got years and years of publishing and collecting for original music, and that's why our Isley brothers and all of those guys are still around, because when they were writing them songs, it was timeless. So 7 generations were able to say, "Oh, let me sample this again. Let me sample this." We need to get back to that, to where artists can really set it up for the future artists 10 years from now. You know what I mean? So that way we can all still have a good quality of hip hop, good quality of R&B music. You know, it's like sad to say, like, R.KELLY, he was brilliant, but his sound is done. It's to the point where people don't even want to hear it in the clubs. Like, I'm a DJ and I'm scared to play bump and grind. Can you imagine that?
Scared of, but
They'll boo you. Boo! Boo, Rob!
I'm telling you, this shit crazy out here.
But when you in the car, let's be honest, a lot of people out here lying, because the music, what he did is fucked up.
Yeah, it is.
But the music is still genius.
Yeah, I
you know
know.
what I'm saying? Like,
So we need that. We're gonna, now that he's out the loop.
man, what we gonna do with all those catalogs?
I know, you know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, no lie. I couldn't wait to hear the remix come out of Bump and Grind, you know?
Yeah.
We need that vibe back, man. Shit is
If
crazy
you
out
remix
here.
it, do you think maybe if you remix it, it'll take, you know what I mean?
Nah,
I don't know.
nah, like he said, they be like, boo!
Boo, Rob, boo! Nah, but R.KELLY, I mean, he's R.KELLY, though.
Yeah, that's-
he did what
I
he did,
know.
but it's...
Shit's hectic,
When the
man.
woman's fed up, I'll be singing that shit loud in the car.
I don't see nothing wrong.
So...
You go
the-
through like
Oh, no.
20 songs in the car.
Did he drop an album? No, in jail they said he dropped
yeah,
the album
but
in
I
prison.
don't know if it's real or not, because I was
Okay.
hearing that they were saying that he didn't do it.
Oh, okay.
Who knows? All right, but
Damn, yeah, it's a shame. A lot of good music there.
yeah.
So if I must, all right. So did I think I remember? I was trying to go. I went to the basement today trying to find your tapes. I listened and stuff. Didn't Tupac do a freestyle on one of your joints?
Yeah. So, you know, I've been doing a lot of interviews really based on the Tupac stuff. Like for the past few years, different people been reaching out for the Tupac story. And because, you know, I met Tupac through Biggie. And me and Biggie was really cool. Biggie used to come to my studio I had in Harlem, and we would smoke weed, and he'd be telling me how he about to get the deal with Puff, and he used to always tease me and Lil C. So yeah, motherfucker look just alike, you know. So you know, and then one day he was telling me he was opening up for Pac, and I forgot the name of the club, and he said, "Yo, G, come down," and I went down there, and I met Tupac, and he was just like, "Yo, Biggie told me a lot about you." And I was like, "Yo, Pac, I got to get you up to the studio, man, to do 16 for that mixtape." And, you know, it took him like 3 weeks. You know, I kept calling him. You know, I wasn't trying to stress him or nothing, but let him know, like, "Yo, man, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I'm a real serious fan, man, you know." And he finally came. He said, "Yo, I'm going to be in New York this and day. I'm going to stop by your crib." And he called, and he came through. I was shocked. It was him, Stretch, and like 3 other dudes. And then that night, he got shot at Quad.
Yeah,
So-
that was what I was really trying to get at. Was it the same night that he did
Yeah,
the drop
so-
on your thing? He went to Quad.
Yeah,
and
he
got
went to
shot.
court and got shot. So
Crazy.
And that also put me in hip hop history as well, because people was like, "Yo, he was at Ron G house before he left." And but you know, the good thing about that was, you know, I had a party in Jersey at the skating ring, and the Outlaws came to me, and they was like, "Yo, Pac, no, you ain't had nothing to do with that. Send you his love." So you know, it was rough for me for at least a good month, because every day for a month, police was knocking on my door, detectives asking me questions. I'm like, "Yo, I'm a DJ."
And plus,
I
people
have no
from
idea.
the outside are automatically gonna, like, the streets might start thinking like you had something.
Yeah,
to do with
well,
it.
but you know, I think what kind of keep me on the outside of it is my personality. Everybody's like, "Oh, Ron is like the coolest motherfucker in the world." Like, to get him on that page, you must have really did some fucked up shit, really, really bad. But majority of people be like, "Nah, Ron is like the coolest dude. He ain't got nothing to do with that." So, and when Pac knew, when the Outlaws came to me and said he found out what was going on, so that kept me, you know, out of the red, and it was a blessing. So a lot of his people was like, "Yo, you good with us, no matter where you at," and I was like, "That's."
Thank God. Thank God.
I was like, "Lord, have mercy."
Jeez. So, you did a lot of production for a lot of big name artists.
Yeah.
What was like one of your most memorable sessions?
Fat Joe and R.KELLY, you know, I produced that. We thuggin'. That took Fat Joe, like, he probably like 2 million now, 2.5. That was an amazing song. Shout out to the Terror Squad. Rest in peace, Big Pun. That was one of my, I would say, one of my biggest records that I did that I really was shocked about because I knew that was gonna do a big number, but you don't know when it's gonna really do a big number. And I didn't think that Fat Joe was gonna sell that many, but when that shit hit the radio and everybody went crazy, he go, yo, G, fucking platinum, and I was like, yeah. So that was a good look. So. And then my second greatest record that I think of all times, and I sold a lot of records. I think she has 7 million now. Is Jennifer Lopez, All I Have, with her and LL Cool J.
Wow, that's huge.
So I did that. That was a big record. I mean, I did a lot of songs like Me and My Crazy World for Lost Boys.
Right.
Can't Nobody remix for Kelly Rowland. SDE for Cameron. I did so many records. I did a lot of remixes. Trey Songz and Aretha Franklin Gotta Make It remix. Yeah, I did that joint.
Them plaques is heavy on the wall.
Yeah, I did a lot of joints, but that was that era.
Right.
The era slowly changed, and that's why because R&B went somewhere else, and people kind of like forgot about. That's why like lately I've been listening to Tink. Like Tink album is dope. Like he really brought me back. I was like, oh man, he flipped his own shit on there. So shout out to Tink. But those are a lot of the big records, and I also did a remix for Michael Jackson, One More Chance. And the crazy thing about that was when that song came out, that's when Michael Jackson was on trial with the kid stuff, and they was like throwing his album in the streets, stepping on it, and that shit was hurting my heart. Just was hurting my why?
That's me too. That's me too.
I didn't do it.
That's me too.
Yeah, man. So
I know you made a lot of records, but who's your favorite freestyle artist that came on your mixtapes? Like you have a freestyle, like your favorite freestyle.
Biggie.
Biggie freestyle on you.
I'm hard. Jehovah said I'm barred on the pearly gates. Fuck them. I didn't want to go to heaven anyway.
Yeah.
My mama got me on my knees talking about this praise the Lord. Biggie was not a game.
And this was in your crib?
Yeah, he did that. He did that around my crib. And then he wound up doing half of it on another song because it was Biggie. Puff was telling him like he had to finish up an album or something. And he wound up using half of that verse for something that Biggie Puff put out. But I had to go to Puff because I was going to use that for the Tupac, Big L, and for Deadly Combination, the Tupac, Big L, and Biggie song that I did on Big L album. That went gold, And that was something that I did based on Big L because I went to school with Big L. And Big L was like, yo, he had a dream of doing a song with Jay-Z and Tupac.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we was in the studio, and we'd be smoking. He'd be like, yo, I'm going to get on, Ron, watch. And I'd be like, yo. And, and then the last days he was saying that he was about to sign a Rockefeller. But he was like, yo, one of my dreams is I want a song with Tupac and Jay-Z. So I was like, what I did was I did the next best thing, Tupac and Biggie. You see what I'm saying? Right. And I sold it to Raucous Records, and Miss Shakur declared it and everything. And she was like, whenever you want to use it for a project, you got her blessings, through the state. So it was cool. It took Big L Gold, and that was another song that was just amazing to me. All rappers were dead, and I happened to produce it, so it was crazy,
Who's your influence in the rap game?
In the rap game?
Yeah. Who influenced you? I know you said Rucker, Harlem.
As far as like rappers or DJ, just rappers?
Yeah.
I mean, I always love rappers. I love a lot of rappers, and back in my time when I was I had a few rappers that I really, that gave me inspiration, but not as a rapper because I don't rap. I would say Tupac, Biggie, and Tretch, and Redman. Redman one time came to my house and did a freestyle and spit for like an hour straight and didn't stop and just was like, pass the weed. And that's it.
Yeah.
And, and to see him do what he do at his highest peak when he's just energetic is amazing. Redman is one of a kind.
Yeah,
so,
one of my favorites. When he first came out, he was hungry.
Yeah,
Funk Dr. Spot.
Yeah. So I got a lot of love for so many rappers, but also to a lot of rappers passed away. Like DMX came to my studio and he did a freestyle for me, and he did. He passed away a couple of years ago, and just to see so many rappers pass away from that era. It's just sad, I always had a dream of working, doing somewhere on Fred the Godson. To me, to see a lot of these things happening, I'm like, we need to bring New York hip-hop back. Like Flex would say, we need that back. We need that vibe back so that way we can get back to inspiring the youth of New York.
Any ideas, Ron?
I always say we need more love in the hip-hop game. I think that one of the things I've been seeing is that, like, New York hip-hop is we all became. I would say Nas and Fat Joe said this. Like we all want to be kings, and we are not appreciating that sometimes everybody can't be the king. Some people need to be a lieutenant. Some people, need to be door watchers. As long as everybody get a check.
Yeah, as long as the ship is moving.
Yeah. But now it's to the point where everybody wants to be the king, and it's just not the same vibe. And you got everybody acting now or doing something totally different. Talk shows, motherfuckers is doing anything now.
Are there any like freestyles you got tucked away that no one's heard? That
I got a couple, but I mean, a lot of them people already heard.
Is there one like that you just there's one in the stuff or two in the stash? They're like, yeah, one day I'm gonna just pull out the clip and.
I got a freestyle from Father MC.
Father MC.
Yeah,
he recently passed away too, right?
I don't, I was hearing that, but I went on Google and it was like he's still alive. Now somebody got
the internet be killing
yeah,
everybody.
I don't know what to
right?
believe, man. But I got freestyles with everybody. I got on ADAT. Remember ADAT? It looked like VHS tapes.
Yeah.
I got freestyles on ADAT.
That with the little ones and then the ADAT like the VCR tapes.
So I got freestyles with everybody from KRS-One to Biggie to Mace to Tretch, Redman, to Outlaws, Raekwon, Fat Joe. Remember A+ from ATL Atlanta?
Yeah.
I got
the young boy. Right?
Yeah, I got a freestyle from him. So many people. It's just it's just that, like I said, in hip hop now, even if I release them freestyles, the hip hop community won't support it.
Right, you go unappreciated.
Yeah, because the art is different now. So it's like we got to get it back to that circle.
So when you hear guys like the Griseldo guys, those are kind of the guys that give you that New York sound, right?
Or at least somewhere around there. But even them is still in between because they still trying to figure out, okay, I want to keep it true to hip hop, but to some degree you'll hear certain songs where they kind of like vibing on different, things. But overall, that hip hop sound is not going to be appreciated until we force it back on the younger generation.
What do you think would take, like, adjusting the way the production of that sound is, or you know what I mean?
No, like what I was just saying, how like the R&B and the hip hop artists now, even though they're trapping, they're sampling what we did yesterday and putting it in their form of music. Maybe we got to do the same thing to theirs. Maybe we got to take an old school Rakim record and trap it with him on the remix, and it's kind of like reinventing the artists in this time, even though they're still here. And the younger guys is not doing that. Like, they're not going to get a Rakim for their remix. They'll sample a Rakim song, but they won't go get the artist because the age is just so different. They're like, nah, man, we young, we even the language is different. You know what I mean? We turned up, we lit over here while we still saying, yo, we that shit, God.
Yeah, one of them kids told me I was Cap the other day. I was like, Cap? What the fuck you mean Cap? I don't know Cap.
Say less. So like, say less. I didn't even say that.
I didn't say shit. How about that one? I get it though. These young kids don't get it.
Yeah, man. So it's a whole different thing now. So we got to figure it out. And that's the thing. Then I think that's why, like, when I look at producers like Timbaland, Pharrell, Dr. Dre, this is why it's probably not so inspirational to them, and they're doing other stuff. Because at your peak, you knew a Timbaland beat. You knew a Pharrell beat. You knew a Premier beat. Premier seemed to still be doing things because his craft is still around. People like like you said, some of the hip-hop artists still go get him. But, to spend $50,000 to $75,000 on a Timbaland track, they're not going to do that. They go get a track from Metro Boomin or one of these guys. So it's so different now. So
they looking for that name drop at the beginning of the beat.
Yes, and then now you got drill, which is coming up so heavy. It's a whole new world now with everything.
You like the drill music?
I like drill music, but some places I go, they don't want to hear it. Like some places I go, they be like, no drill music in here. I'm like, why? Like, nah, this shit get violent. I'm like, what? All right.
Yeah, I get it.
Got to play MASE.
What you know about going out here at rest? The happy shit. You got to play the happy shit.
It's just different, man. I'm telling you. So you know, you got a vibe, and you know, everywhere's different, you know. But you do got your hip hop people who's like, yo, I want that '90s shit. So it's still good out there with the '90s.
I think that would be awesome. Have a Ron G do an all '90s party.
I stay doing them though. That's the thing. I be doing a lot of '90s parties. A lot of parties. They be like, yo, we need that '90s set.
Where those parties are rocking at the most?
The '90s,
like in New York or out of state. Where is it?
I would say both. You know. Like what I've been impressed with, I've been seeing is Salsa Con Fuego, where I DJed there a couple of times. That shit stay packed, and it's like an older crowd. So you know, you get those venues where they really appreciate that sound, and you can play a couple of the new songs in there, and they'll still be vibing. But you know, a lot of times when I'm doing '90s parties, a lot of it is out of state. A lot of it, you know, and unless
because everybody moved out of New York.
Yeah. Either they moved out of New York, or they in Jersey, or they in Connecticut, or they in Atlanta, living the New York life.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, yo, Ron, I'm out here in the ATL, but bring me back to the '90s. I'm like, nigga, stay where you at.
You must get that shit all the time. Like, yo, Ron, I'm from New York. Okay? I'm out here in Atlanta. Life changed for me.
True story, all the time.
You get those stories all the time, all the time. Like, yeah, I'm from Brooklyn. Bro. Like, what the fuck you doing?
I'm from the Bronx, say with ag. I'm like, well, I'm from Harlem.
Something different. I'm different.
Yeah, so you know.
So you do style put still parties there.
Yeah,
That's
still
what's
do
up.
the '90s, still do all that. It feels good to be able to still see people partying and dancing. You know, right after the pandemic, it was a little crazy. You know, because people were scared to look at each other. It was like,
right.
But now it's a little better. People were warmed
starting
up.
to loosen up. And
yeah. But for a minute, motherfuckers didn't even want to even like touch a building. You know, people was looking at each other with the masks on, and they didn't really want to communicate.
Did you do a little over the pandemic?
Yeah, I
I
did a couple. You know, I mean, I always was doing them online. Even like we was at DTF, I always was doing. You know, some people had told me, said the thing is not what you was doing, is who you was doing it for, and that's why certain celebrities and certain DJs were getting certain different outlets bigger than other DJs, because they're friends with some of them was celebrities, actors, rappers, and then you got Joe Mo from the corner, and like they were saying, Juice, oh, you just local. Yeah. You won't get nobody because your friends is local. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, but I was always doing DJing on the internet and all that. So by the time the pandemic happened, it wasn't interesting to me. Right. I've been putting it in so many years, it was like, why am I going to act like I'm new to doing this shit now? Right. So I was like, fuck it.
You lost some of that passion for it, right?
Yeah. And I seen Capri talk about it too, because he was doing it on Periscope too. So, you know, we've been doing it so long, it was like, okay, y'all catch up to us, but we were so far ahead that people really didn't understand what we were doing, because I would have even promoters be like, nigga, you still DJing on internet? Like, nigga, do you know what the internet is? That's just, you know, they would make jokes at me, like some of my people down south, and I would try to explain to them like, yo, one day y'all gonna understand. Shit, man, I don't care, you know. And that's the difference. It took people some time to slow down through the pandemic to see what the internet is doing, right, and what people are doing on the internet. So.
And by that time, you kind of already looking at the next thing.
Yeah, because I'm like, I did this already for so many years, and it's like, you know,
that shit must
why am I going to play catch up to somebody else? Like, this shit's crazy.
That shit must have pissed you off. Now y'all going to do it? Now y'all going to do it? I've been now if I do it, I look new to this shit.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, you know, you always got to try to be ahead if you can, but sometimes you know, it always don't work that way.
So you said Capri. Who's your? And I said rapper wise. Now DJ wise, who's your inspiration?
Well, I would say probably it would be Capri. It would be Brucey B, Red Alert. You know, and right now, to be honest, even though he's not just a DJ, DJ Drama and DJ Khaled, like they're really my inspiration. Right, I always talk to Drama. Sometimes he'd be in Vegas. And now me and my wife, we'd just fly out to Vegas just to party with him. Dope. And he's just inspirational to see him go from the mixtapes to Gangsta Grills. Yep. To he also gives me a lot of love and shout outs, and to see him now got his label. His label is Generation Now. And he got his artists. So to see him and to see what Khaled been doing, and just to see him do what he's doing, I'm like, yo, this is dope. You know, and he always yell out to me, from the mixtapes, Ron, from the mixtapes. And I'm like, because it's just it's a good feeling when you start from the mixtapes
Right.
to being a CEO and executive. So them two guys really inspire me right now.
You don't sell your collection, do you?
Yeah, I sell it on USB or flash drive.
Okay.
You know.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it got somebody else up there too who got like, you know, every mixtape that I don't even have and ain't selling. I'm like, man, this is crazy.
you copping it from them.
Yeah,
Like,
they like, yo, we got every mixtape that he ever did, even when he didn't know he did it. I'm like,
You got his practice tapes. Like, why the fuck you know?
True story, man. It's just crazy out there.
So you sell like a whole USB with like
Yeah,
like,
on my classic blends, because the blends.
how
were
many
It's 15
of
tapes
them?
on there. Yeah, because most of the time people be like, yo, I want that collection. So if y'all want that collection, hit me up, DJ Ron G 84gmail.com. Mixes 1 through 15, the classic blends.
Yeah.
Or holler at me on my website.
Get it from the source,
Yeah.
man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm
Legendary.
definitely gonna cop it. That's
DJ
why I
Ron
asked. I was
G.
like, yo, how do I get it? Because that's definitely something
Yeah,
I want
appreciate it.
I
So,
been
you know.
skipped a lot of numbers. I had one, and then I couldn't afford four, and then
How does that feel when I know occasionally somebody must come up to you with like an original tape from back then?
Yeah, I mean-
and be like, yo, can you sign this?
I got
Yeah.
some shits. I
Yeah.
was trying to get it.
I had that a
was
couple
trying to find
times. They do that. They be like, yo, sign it. You know, it's a blessing to me, man. Like I said, to start from your bedroom because your mother's telling you to turn it out. And you know.
The backstory. We got the backstory here. at the
So
Brooklyn
Mom
Basement.
Dukes is the executive producer.
yeah, she was on me.
Pretty much. Do that mix you did last week, baby.
So then you eventually wind up doing the house parties in the crib for your
Yeah,
moms.
you know, but to be honest, it didn't start. I started doing house parties, but it wasn't in my crib. We started doing house parties at my friend's house. And then it was the local community center. Then from there was a gambling spot that was on the low. Then from there,
yeah.
That's where the money started coming in, the gambling spot.
Because all the hustlers wanted
yeah, I was just like, yo, we gonna have this nigga Ron G in the back while we
Yeah.
winning that money. And then from there, I started branching out to actually doing parties in New Rochelle, Mount Vernon. And then after that, it was on.
And then when you hear people like Biggie shout you out on records later on
Yeah,
in
that
your
was
life.
it's a blessing. Even to hear, you know, and like some people always ask me like, what was my relationship? And I said, me and Big was really cool. And I think one of the reasons why we were cool is because I reminded him of Little C's. And it was like a brotherhood. Like, yo, you remind me of my man Caesar Leo. He always would say that. And that's how we got really cool. So I had a genuine love for Biggie. Plus Biggie at one time gave me $10,000. He was going to buy 2 tracks. And I was going through, one of my homies was going through a court case, and like I was like funding it, you know what I mean? So my cash was getting low, and he was like, yo, make 2 tracks for me, and if I like them, I'll buy them. So I did a couple of joints. I went out and brought the Trinity keyboard, and I did We Thuggin', and I did a couple other joints, and Biggie brought the tracks, but he said Puff wasn't going to use them. So he just like, yo, keep that money, man. That's you. And
Puff was hating on the load.
I think that he just had his own vision for Big, but Big had his own vision too. You know what I mean? So after he gave me that $10,000, I went and brought an MPC 62, and that set me right back up to get back into production.
So that was dope that even though he didn't use
Yeah,
it.
because because some people are like, yo, you gotta send that back. It would hurt me at that time. I'm like, come on, Big. Anything else I can do?
anything.
I don't want to bring the Trinity back.
I need it, baby. Come on. That's crazy. So is the rumor true? I mean, you fuck with Big. Is the rumor true that he actually sat in the studio and just no pen, no pad, just did it off the dome?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't ever sit in the studio with Big that much.
Okay.
But most of the time, yeah, he seemed like he was just natural with it.
Right.
And that was a gift he had. Like I said, his lingo. Like when he was like, "You're all my cheering" and saying shit like that, I was like, "Damn, where he get these expressions from?"
Yeah.
You're all my siblings. We was like, "What the fuck is a sibling?" Like, remember at that time, I didn't know what a sibling was, and I was like over 21.
He's using different words from the dictionary.
I was like, "That's my nigga." Like, well, I'll tell you, man, shit's just different. But Big was one of a kind, though. True story.
That's crazy.
Who was one of the young guys in the hood that surprised you that wound up blowing up, that you worked with, or was around in the studios like, yo, Ron, let me get a
I would
beat?
say Mace. I mean, I always knew Big L. I didn't know Cam as well because Cam was from East Harlem. But I knew Mace through my man Kuda Love. Shout to Kuda Love. And to see Mace, because I actually did Mace demo. A lot of people don't know that. I actually did Mace demo. Because when Mace came, he used to come to my house with Kuda, and he'd be like, yo, we got to work on a demo so we could try to get him signed to Bad Boy. Mm-hmm. So I had did over, that's For the lover and you did I had did that off for Mace like, and I'm hearing this shit now and they're doing it now and they did it like 2-3 times and then I remember Mike Geronimo he had did it and now he had did it first actually, but I had that vision for Mace and I had did a couple other things and then and like I said handling some other stuff with my boy and his situation and Mace went and got to deal with Puff. And when they got the deal, I didn't see nothing from that. I didn't even get a thank you from Mace to saying, yo, you did my demo, yo, nothing.
How many joints was in that demo tape?
I did like 4 of them, and then my man Super Sam did the other 2, and I think he Kuda took it to Puff, and that's how he got the deal.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Nah, Mace is just the way. For some people, it's like that, But you learn the business. I did so much out of love. Versus I signed this contract before I did a lot out of love just to see people in Harlem blow up, and he was one of the guys who I said he's gonna blow up when he do it, but I didn't know when, but you can tell he was on his way.
And this was like that whole Children of the Corn days.
Yeah, it was after that. It was because that's when once Big L got on, everybody wanted to be on. That's how it was.
Because Big L originally started messing with DITC, right?
Yeah, he was working with them for a while. Yeah. But that was a different vibe from what Mace did. Mace was like straight rich off the bat. You know what I mean? It looked like he just overnight he was wearing diamond chains and driving fancy cars.
That's that bad boy money from
at the time. So I don't know.
At the time that was bad boy. Now it's something different.
So you always keep an eye out for talent?
Yeah. I mean, I get like right now I'm working with this kid who's under Joel Santana. He's from my hood. His name is Visionary C. I just produced his new song. It's called Richer. So, Santana got a whole thing coming. He got a whole label. I Can't Feel My Face Records. I Can't Feel My Face. LLC, the whole movement. So this guy that I'm working with, he's my homie son, and he's that new talent. So, and I did like a boom bap track for him just to change the vibe in New York, but he's a master at that trap shit. So, so he's the next up and coming, and he's going to be signed to Joel Santana. So it's going to be big.
That's dope.
So what's the furthest DJ has taken you in the world? I mean, have you done Japan, Europe?
Australia with Usher.
Wow.
Yeah, and I toured with Usher for a few weeks in Brisbane, Australia.
So that's what, like 30,000 people out
there? Yeah. That's just watching him do his thing. It's 12 o'clock on the block. I need a down. Hey, baby.
That shit must be fun. That shit must be bad.
That's
fun.
why you like the R&B shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's just in you,
different.
Yeah, the effect. I mean, you get the same effect in the hip hop, but R&B, man, it's
well, let's be honest. R&B touches the women, and when the women dance, the fellas dance, and the party's a different party. Yeah, it's a different party. I mean, women.
But that's what Tupac was so loved in the business because the ladies really loved him. You know what I mean? The ladies love Tupac even to this day. You know what I mean? They never even met him. They just seen him online, and they're like, I love him. You know what I mean? So
personality.
It's just the R&B and the hip hop combination is a different vibe than just, and a lot of people probably didn't realize that until you started seeing more artists do it. Now that's like with Dre. When Dre was producing beats and he was having hip hop hooks, but he also had women singing in it. Yes. You know what I mean? And that was taking him to a whole nother level. And that formula was just big. A lot of people didn't pay no mind. Like you'll be sitting back and you'll hear a girl singing in Dre track, and you'll be like, and you won't really pay no mind, but it's all the whole formula is there.
Right.
So these guys are all brilliant. I mean, they're brilliant at what they do.
You ever work with anybody outside of hip hop or R&B?
Well, I got a I'm not far as a major artist. No, I would love to. I worked with B2K, like I did Girlfriend. I don't know if I Need a Girlfriend. I did the remix for that. And I got the idea from In the Club, 50 Cent song from Dre, because I've been as a producer. I idolize Dre. Like I listen to, I got every sound effect of Dre's that he ever invented. Like if I see Dre on the YouTube with a drum machine, I went and brought it. Like, whatever keyboard he had, I went and got it. Like I idolized Dre since I was a kid. So when I did I Need a Girlfriend remix for B2K, that was big. They was performing that. R.KELLY was also on that. So I did a lot of R&B songs, but outside of hip hop, it was either it was if it wasn't R&B, it was mainly under independent artists or something like that. Like I worked with an artist in UK, produced a song called Celebrate. I forgot the name of the artist, but I did a lot of different things, But now, I'm learning. I'm learning the trap shit. And I've really been studying it. Even though I don't want to do it,
it's still hard.
I'm learning it.
Still
Like some of these young guys, like I look at some of these YouTube videos, they be like, "Man, I did this shit in 10 minutes, man."
and you're like, damn.
I'm like, what? I've been studying this motherfucker all night and day.
Yeah, that digital shit is different,
it's
right?
nuts. But so as a student of the game, I'm still learning.
That's
So
crazy.
if you wasn't doing music, then what would you be doing? If it wasn't DJing, if it wasn't production?
I don't know. This is my first love. I always, wanted to do this. I did radio, like in Boston, I was doing radio. I recently got off of radio to focus back on production. Because up there, radio is not like radio in New York or in Atlanta. It's not the same, and the reason why is because up in Boston, the urban communities are not as supportive in the music industry as it is like in New York, Miami, Atlanta, LA. So you could be on the biggest radio in Boston and have the biggest name, but the industry is not supporting it, so it's not
Because
the
the
same.
market is not as big.
So to me, I felt like, okay, let me change up a little bit. Let me see if I can create something. Like I know Jadakiss got an artist up there. I think his name is Millie. He got an artist. So Smoke Bolger is signed to Rick Ross. So hopefully some of these things pop off in Boston, which it could create that vibe, so it all can make sense. You know what I mean? But otherwise than that, I was like, let me start getting back to doing some hits. And what inspired me was watching one of Puff videos when he was like, "We got to get back to doing us." I don't know if y'all saw that video.
Nah, I didn't see it.
And that inspired me because I'm like, yeah, we do, man. This is what I'm saying. Like we act like we scared to put out a hip hop song or an R&B song. We were experimenting back in the days. Let's not forget. Let's get back to it. So.
You and Puff are both from Harlem, right? What do you think that you guys both being from Harlem, being in the industry around the same time? He never used you in some of those projects.
I always wondered. I have went to Puff a couple of times, and I have tried, but I think I'm not sure, but I think that he's a power guy. He's a guy who, if you don't if you're not in his circle the right way, you're not gonna progress. And maybe I wasn't in his circle the right way. Always was doing the mixtapes. He needs those producers who's at his beck and call, as you can say. With me, I'm on the road, moving around. I have tried, like I said, with the Biggie, but I'm still waiting for that day. Plus, Miss Jones, Miss Jones had issues with Mary, and he might have said, "Listen, let me keep that on the side and keep." I don't know, but to this day, I'm still looking for the opportunity to produce a Puff Daddy record. I feel being there from Harlem, it's time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's time, and I think this is what we are missing here. You know what I mean? You go down south, Metro Boomin is banging. He's got all types of beats with, even Hitmaker. Like, I'm so proud of Hitmaker, which is Young Bird. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got the new album with him and Jim Jones. I'm so proud of it because I actually listened to the whole album and was like, yo, this shit is dope. You know what I mean? We need to get back to it. And I'm like, Hitmaker could have stayed in doing R&B hits. He got millions. He been, you know what I mean? But for him to go and work with Jim, I was like, yo, this is what I'm talking about.
And I think just recently there was a post with him and Mano together.
Yeah.
So
because I know Jim Jones and Mano had did an album. So this is what I'm
maybe
saying.
they
We
squashed
need
that
that.
beef, maybe.
Yeah. We need this in hip hop, especially in New York. So I'm waiting for some more opportunities, And I'm level headed. I'm not like, walking around like God gave me everything. I'm humble and I'm still looking for opportunities out there to do more in hip hop and R&B and to help our culture.
Well, you drove 4 hours to come to
but
the Brooklyn Basement
I got
Podcast.
a lot of love for you, Yeah, and I thank you guys for inviting me. But,
But
I definitely appreciate the opportunity. Plus, man, to see what your guys are doing, man, it's inspirational. Cause,
thank you.
Y'all got your setup. Y'all doing something for the culture.
Yeah.
And plus it's fun.
It's fun, and that's exactly what we're trying to do here. Just like have like organic conversation with people that we know and talk about these things that
the people don't know.
That don't know. You know what I'm saying?
If you're not subscribed already, press that red button. It'll cost you no money. You ain't even gotta give me no weed. This is the Brooklyn Basement Podcast where we talk real shit. And when you press subscribe, it helps us in the YouTube algorithm so you can see us more often. So press that red button because we need you to do that shit. Like right now. Please.
You getting back into the production. So who knows, man? Maybe you remix the remix. And start a whole new wave, a whole new sound.
I'm definitely I'm just, like I said, a student of the game, so I'm learning, and I also, like I said, have a hope for my man Visionary C, which is signed to Joel Santana. So if he blows, it's a whole nother vibe in Harlem, and then that will give me inspiration to get out here and find some more talent and do what I'm supposed to do. Because a lot of times, like a lot of people I talk to, they be like, "Gee, you supposed to have been sitting in that chair with this and that." And I just didn't never feel that. I felt always, I still do one mixtape a month. I always just feel like this is what I'm here for, to put the music out there, to help other people. At the same time, long time my bills are being paid, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I can continue to do more greatness. And somebody said that to me. They said, "Ron, you got to get back to doing greatness." And that word inspired me because when I was doing the blend tapes, that was greatness. But I didn't think of it as that. I was thinking of it as like, whatever my mother's going to say now, But it turned out to be something that people to this day still be like, "Yo, Ron, you don't know, man. 1991, son. I had the Lamborghinis. I had the pink shoes on. Wifey, and those things give me, because I brought joy to people's lives. And so I'm hoping to continue.
I would definitely say that you, my brother's a DJ. He's in Rochester, New York. He was the one that put me on to you when he was younger. Now he's my younger brother. I'm only like maybe 3 or 4 years older than him, but he was on. Shout out to DJ Private Eye. He was the
Private
one.
Eye, what up?
Yeah, he's the one that shouted at you. I like, yo, you gotta listen to Ron G. So saying that, like. He was the one. That's why I was like, yo, I got to get the Ron G tapes. Because he bought a lot of them as well. So between him, I bought 1, he bought 4. I bought 5, he bought 8. So
that's how you started selling the collection, right? We know about you.
But those are blessings. You already know I take it as blessings. But yeah, those are things that gave me unique blessings to see people say that, and appreciate me. So it really humbled me down.
Definitely.
And we appreciate you, man, Ron. We know you got to get out of here.
Oh yeah, man, I appreciate that.
No, definitely, Ron, man.
For coming
appreciate
down
you.
All right. To Brooklyn Basement Podcast.
That's right.
But before we get out of here, we need you to look into that camera and tell them that this is the best. Right. Hold on.
He said this is the best.
Let me prep you for this. Is like the illest, also the first podcast you've ever done, right?
Well, you don't want to say that.
No, we need all the cosign we can get.
Yeah, I hook you up.
You know what I mean? Look into the camera. Brooklyn Basement Podcast. You know what I mean? The Ron G situation.
You ready? What up, y'all? You know who it is. It's the world famous Ron G. Brooklyn Podcast. You know what it is.
Hold on. Because he did the same thing that Ron
Ray
DeJean did. Brooklyn Basement Podcast.
Okay, yeah.
You know it is the old guys, the 50, the 45.
All right, here we go. Brooklyn Basement Podcast.
There you go, right?
Right. Yes, indeed. It's the world famous Ron G. You know what it is. It's the Brooklyn Basement Podcast. And I'm here, and you know what it is. Let's get into it. Salute.
Peace.
Peace.